Hello everyone, I am late to the weekly wrap-up. I don't know how we can get any more hours in the day, but I definitely need them. So does everybody else here at the sanctuary. So let me kind of give you some updates of what's been going on. I know they put gutters on Catio Town today. I've been out looking at that, so that's awesome. I was just waiting for people to join us. I know it takes some time to join us. But yesterday was a big day with Jack's and Animal Emergency Referral Center's radiology appointment. Of course, we got good news on his heart and lungs, but little Bobcat Jack's really just gave us some more questions. Kind of where we stand today is he is persistent hypoglycemic, opposite of diabetes. Not something we usually see in kittens when it's persistent and chronic. His blood glucose should be 80 to 150, and he's been consistently at 38 to 40. Even after a meal, and even when he's been restrained for blood work each day, which causes stress, which should increase his blood sugar. So we are still very concerned, but he's a strong little boy. We're running more tests. It can be anything from, we ruled out thyroid. We still could be a growth hormone. It could be something wrong with his pancreas, like pancreatic insufficiency. It could be a tumor on his pancreas. We drew more blood today, and he was not happy with me and Dr. C to run more tests. So right now he's getting 4 to 5 meals a day to try and spread out. We're actually even adding domestic cat dry food, which goes against everything we normally do for wild animals, but because it has so much carbohydrates in it, it can last longer than the meat spikes. We're also starting some prednisolone in case it's Addison's or pancreatic insufficiency, but just still more questions and answers. And I know we're asking a lot of our staff to do these type of meals so frequently. We have an emergency plan in place if he were to crash from blood sugar. The reality is we are hoping he stays consistent until we find an answer or treatment, but we know it can change at any moment. So no, everybody here is doing their most, and Jack still does not know anything is going on. If this was your domestic cat and had 30 blood glucose level, you'd be in emergency mode and needing to go to the emergency clinic. And so we want to do his blood every day. We're going to look at doing insulin curves, things like that, but it is not diabetes at this point. There's definitely something functional in his body causing this issue, and we have to rule out what it is first. So thank you guys for everything you're doing. People ask if there's anything from the wish list he wants. Not at this time. He's playing with things. We're rearranging his enclosure. We're making sure his dens we can see in so he can't go around. At this point, he's got everything he needs. General donations are always welcome. Yesterday was a $1,000 vet bill. The blood work is a couple $100 every time we send it out. And so, regular donations are always welcome for that. Some other updates. On top of being pulled for construction and checking on Catio Town, it's been a little delayed again. We were hoping to get back the building turned over to us on September 15th, which means that we have to do our kennel fronts, our counters, all of the stuff we do before cats move in. It looks like that's being pushed back to 10/1, which is our contract date. And then we won't have access to the catios till 11/1, but we are getting prepared. The facilities team started putting in the cat doors yesterday, and so we're trying to tag team so that we can get all of our Bengals in before we get cold weather. I have been on call after call after call of rescues. It is nonstop. More bobcats. We still have Rufus, if you guys remember, the Charles Paddock Zoo that needs a home. He's getting great care now, but definitely he would be better in a sanctuary environment, so we haven't given up on that. We had another bobcat call reached out to us, which is a wild-born bobcat that most likely was hit by a car and has a lot of neurological issues and brain damage. If he was younger, we thought he'd be a perfect match for Jax, but he's older and an adult. So I had 2 sanctuaries reach out, one within the Big Cat Sanctuary Alliance that could possibly pair him with somebody, but another one of our friends, Southwest Wildlife in Arizona, said they have space and are committed to special needs bobcats. So really happy about that. We are working on a hoarding seizure case that I can't share too much at this point. But it looks like up to 7 new cats could come to the sanctuary. But right now, when you get hoarding cases, you have exposure to a lot of things. It can be FIV, Colese's virus, worms, upper respiratory herpes, and so definitely doing some due diligence there to make sure those cats can come to our sanctuary or any other sanctuary and not cause a negative impact on anybody's resident population. Been working. International rescues just keep coming, and I'm talking about it's not Lucy. I know everybody wants an update on Lucy from Argentina, but really that is still, I'll let you know as soon as I have details, put it that way. But there are a lot of other big cats in other countries that are in need, and so I'm consulting. Definitely there are some challenges for any of them to come to sanctuaries here in the U.S., not only capacity issue, but as you guys know, import issues. You know, it's taken Lucy, if she actually gets to come to the sanctuary, several years. And so when you have a dire situation of cats that need help right now, that permit process is really long. And we also need to figure out how other countries can set up a sanctuary system like ours. And then also the sanctuary system. You know, our sanctuaries have gotten smaller. There's been a few that have closed down over the last few years. There's some that are having more challenging raising money, and so we are mentoring them the best we can and offering support to help them be sustainable, because a lot of these places are good. It's just they don't have the succession plans in place, or they had unexpected staffing losses, especially in leadership, and so they need help, and they're great people doing good work. So spending a lot of time doing that as well, and it's definitely all worthwhile because it helps all animals. We had new interns start today, 5 new animal care interns, so that's been awesome, and we're really excited to have them here. We have crew days coming up, so Tyler was talking about what the crew day this weekend will work on. We still have bungalows 6 and 7 that are part of the Catio Town upgrade that will get new buildings, and so a lot of work needs to be done for that, and so that might be the project. We still need a lot of hammocks for Catio Town, so that's another project. We still keep up with maintenance we have to do, so we have some paintings in Shazam's room and Alyssa's room. Some of the paint is peeling, and so they're looking at doing that as well. So projects are always there. We have to redo the Lynx roof. I call it the Lynx roof. We have a Bobcat house and a Lynx house, and those are our intern houses that we own. We have to do a whole new roof on the Lynx house is leaking, so that's an unexpected expenditure as well. And we're working on getting the pavilions, because we have the meows. I can't remember now, my head's going, is it the cat meow or something, pavilions that come and are part of Catio Town. So we've ordered those, and those will get probably put in place this year, but all the landscaping and fire pits and all that wonderful stuff we'll be doing for the human side of it will be done next year. On top of that, we have Bobcat Moves coming up. So Sky and Celine, as you know, those 2 Bobcat sisters that do not want to live together anymore, we are looking at putting, somebody's asking size hammocks. Those are about 2 by 2 feet hammocks that are made out of fire hose we do for Catio Town. But the Bobcat Moves, Sky and Celine, we're going to move to the new yard that they've just completed in Cattail Creek. And Claude and Benson, given their aging, and Benson's having some vision issues, we'll probably move him back into Wildcat Pines, but those 2 are not crate trained like others are, so we'll probably use those for wellness exams, senior wellness exams. And then we're looking at moving Kaya and Bogart and flopping Buddy, because Buddy's older as well. So some Bobcat Moves going on this weekend. And then I know sponsor updates. A lot of cats are going to get their sponsor updates, meaning the humans who sponsor the cats will get sponsor updates from Olivia. Everybody's just really, really behind. And then on top of all of this, we lost Savannah Hilo. And as much as 18 years, we can't expect a better life for him. Definitely wasn't the week we thought we'd be saying goodbye to him. He was so special for so many reasons, mostly because he was our first Savannah cat, and he taught us a lot. And I just remember getting the email from Hawaii Fish and Game and said, we've caught some kind of cat in this feral cat trap. I have no idea what it is. Can you identify what it is? And he said, all I know is he's the meanest, angriest animal I've ever trapped. And I just kind of laughed, and it was Hilo Savannah. And kudos to Hawaii, who has laws that prohibit ownership of hybrids, but they also spent the time and energy to get him safely to our sanctuary. And so of course he was named Hilo after Hawaii. And it took a while for him to warm up, but he eventually did. He always lived for a long time in the first bungalow, right where the Catio Town building is now. And he was always welcoming, saying hello once he socialized. He became friends with, who had my heart, Chauncey Cashmere, who is one of my first Chauncey jungle cat mixes that we rescued. And then over the years, he fell in love with Bengal Sebastian. And Bengal Sebastian lived a shorter life due to a tumor in his throat. And so just recently, we remerged Hilo with Maximilian and Thor Jr., and then merged them with Eddie and Leo. And so we weren't expecting to say goodbye to Hilo. And so he was just off food for just a little bit. And then one day they said, you know, he's really quiet. Can you check on him? And I went out there, and by the time I checked on him, he was stretching his back legs. Like you could tell, he didn't want to curl up like he normally did. And his breathing started changing. So I called Dr. Campbell in from, he was off that day, and he came right in, and him and Elise and I did assessments, and when we did x-rays and even palpating, you could feel a tennis ball size mass in his belly. And then the labored breathing was from all the fluid around his heart because it had metastasized. So sad as it was, and as quickly as it happened, you know, Dr. Campbell said, God, if this was you or I, we'd be bellied over in the hospital for days. It's just amazing what these cats tolerate and how they don't complain, but how nice it is when they don't have to suffer long and we have to make those decisions. So it was really sad, but it also gave me time to reflect on Catio Town and how many hybrid calls we get. And him being one of the first, and nobody knowing what a Savannah cat was at that time was pretty crazy. So thank you all for helping us remember him. He also had chronic herpes and chronic issues, so with his eyes, ulcers in his eyes, which could have been the Clecies virus, could have been the herpes virus, we don't know, but we had to remove his eye. We almost had to say goodbye to him once for he had some type of neurological condition due to some mold that was in the ground, and we got him through that. So he definitely had 9, 10, maybe 11 lives. Maybe if he's a hybrid, he actually got 16 lives, or yeah, 16 lives or 18 lives. Can't do my math. You cannot. This is why Gina's over here. You can't do 9 and 9 is 18. I do remember that from elementary school, but 18 lives. But I'm a little sidetracked today because I have to show you something. Where are you? Because I have little Munchi in the TV. Here, I'm so bad at looking at this. This is my little girl from home. She's here getting her vaccines today. And so she's a little frightened being at the sanctuary. So my mind has been really on her and Jax, so I apologize. Hi, Munch. And her name's Macy, but when she's, she always likes to bite and munch. So, and she's the one I adopted after my girl Kazoo passed away, and she has the same kind of scarring in her eye. You know, me and tabbies, I love them. So it's been a little bit of an emotional roller coaster the last couple days whenever you have unknowns and vets things going on. And Jax, it's funny because as soon as I met him and I said he doesn't remind me of baby Jenga very much in person, the stress I'm feeling of what every hour and every day brings for him and how fragile life is definitely feels like the first several months I had with baby Jenga. But this time I'm not doing alone. This time I have Dr. Campbell, I have Elise and Rio and Tyler and Kelly and Alyssa and Jill Marie and Kaylin and Jackie. I mean, just the list goes on and on, the caretakers that are doing it. So that's really great. Any other updates? Right now, everybody else is staying status quo. And in a sanctuary, that's the most you can ask for, is that everybody's doing exactly what they should be doing from a cat health standpoint. I know people have asked about Pandora since she was diagnosed with her lymphoma, but she's not showing any signs right now. We also had our legacy event last weekend. And this was the first time we did a legacy event. So anybody that had put us in their will or estate plans was invited on site for an open house. And it was just wonderful to see those people. And we will do this again in the future. So if you want to leave future plans for the sanctuary, definitely do, and you'll get invited on site. And it was just wonderful to meet. I mean, I think 60% of the people that came had never been to TWS before. So I think the most popular cat was Dash. They wanted to see Dash. And then Temo, our media intern, had the red golf cart, which I think I told you guys this, but it's so funny because I've always said Dash is afraid of the red golf cart. Judson thinks I'm phooey. He's not afraid of it when Judson drives it, but then when I see Judson, like at Summer Safari, Dash was afraid of the red golf cart. But this time I have 20 people that saw that red golf cart from probably 150 feet away drive by, and Dash ran into the front enclosure in Roar Ridge. He didn't want anything to do with it. So we are looking at, as we talked about, adding somebody to paint that golf cart. So if you guys know anybody that wants to paint it for free, let us know. But really excited to bring Catio Town in the near future. It's getting closer, which when that's completed, we hope we can bring in some more of these rescues that we're getting rescue calls on. Most of them are still part of the small cat crisis. They're small cat species and hybrid species. And everybody's full. And so I think Turpentine Creek, when we received the call on the 2-year-old Zuri, the serval, we just said, where is she? Is there a sanctuary closer that would be better for Zuri versus driving to Minnesota? We're going into winter. And we know, it's hard for sanctuaries to always say yes, and we're so grateful for Turpentine. Emily and I were at a conference together and she was emailing Tanya, and I was like, can you please? And they're just such gracious, wonderful people, and a great sanctuary that said yes. And so I love that. Anything else I can think of? Oh, so the other thing is, I don't know if any of you guys are watching Chimp Crazy. It's kind of the chimp version of Tiger King on HBO Max. It's really hard to watch because if it's hard to see big cats in small spaces with little enrichment, it is really hard to see primates and chimpanzees being mistreated. They are so human-like, they are so intelligent, and it is really, really hard to see. But on episode 3, they're talking about how Chimp Tonka went and was hidden at a place owned by a gentleman named Cy, who had other exotic animals. It's called Union Ridge Center, and we have a tie there, which people might not know, but that's exactly where Tigers Noah and Elizabeth came from. When Cy was prosecuted and put in jail, we were reached out by somebody from that organization, as well as the USDA in Ohio, asking if we would take the tigers off the property, and that's how Noah and Elizabeth came to be. And during that case, you'll remember that they were witness protection tigers. We wanted all the animals to go off to safe places before we revealed them. And we never really talked about the past too much because of the sensitivity of the case, and we didn't, even though we weren't involved in the chimp portion, we were involved in the tiger portion, we didn't want to ever impede an investigation into anything that could help animals. So that's why we didn't really share that till now. So you'll know about that right now. So as always, we're working with not only rescuing from organizations, but just as I kind of recap today with Southwest Wildlife and Turpentine and other organizations and sanctuaries we're mentoring right now. It is about us working together as an industry and a team. And that's why we're accredited, not just verified, by the Global Federation of Animal Sanctuaries, as well as part of the Big Cat Sanctuary Alliance. It's hard enough to do this job on a daily basis, but to do it alone is really hard. We all need to work together. And so we're really thankful that we have you guys working with us as well. It's been, I would say a week, it's been a month, Gina. How long has it been? Where it just feels we can't come up for air. And so we're gonna continue to keep doing what we do. But we're hoping there's a little break in the need in the near future, that we just don't keep getting inundated with the rescue calls, and some of these animals are in such horrific conditions, it's hard not to help. So that's why Rufus, if anybody wants to give us tons of money to go get Rufus from Charles Paddock Zoo, we'd probably do it. But we know he's safe and he's being cared for. So right now we're really just working on those cats that don't have alternative in the moment. And if other sanctuaries have space, we always welcome them to reach out to us. But we know everybody who has space at the Big Cat Sanctuary Alliance, because that's another thing we do to work together. As the rescue committee chair, everybody submits their space availability, and we don't just go off of that. We end up reaching out to everybody individually when we know people don't have space, but we know people might be able to find space. So again, we never want to overtax ourselves. We don't ever want to take in too many animals that they don't get the individualized care they do here, but we're willing to stretch ourselves. I think every person here at the sanctuary is willing to stretch a little bit. And then we have some news that, everybody that knows Lynette here, who's wonderful. Lynette has been such a godsend to the sanctuary, and she's going to be retiring in a couple months. She does not like attention, so she doesn't want a big party or anything, but most of you that donate know Lynette. She is an amazing lady. She's been an amazing asset to the sanctuary. We are so thrilled for her in her next chapter, retiring to be a permanent grandma and watching her grandkids. But we are going to miss her desperately. She is going to be hard to fill her shoes, but we have been so grateful to have her with us for as many years as we have. So if you call her, just nicely say, don't make a big deal. She does not like attention, but I can't let things go by. And we still have a few months with her. She definitely gave us a lot of notice so that we can cross-train new people in that position. And so, but it takes a village, and we want everybody that has been part of TWS to know how valued they are, whether they're internal or external like you. So have a great rest of your week. I'll have more updates for you next week, and we'll keep you posted on Jax. Just know he is our big focus right now and consuming a lot of our time, and he thinks he's pretty damn special and doesn't see why he shouldn't get everybody's time and every treat he wants, and getting fed his 5 to 6 times a day. But just put out in the world that we find the information to be able to treat this permanently versus just trying to keep him stable. We want to be able to give him a treatment and give him a really, really long life. So thank you all so much. Bye.